Night Stalker.
Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and I don't know how long this will be, but this is sort of something I've been wanting to do for a while. Talk about a show that not many people out there may know of, which is a shame. Granted, it was a show from the 70s, but this would be on there. One of my favorite TV shows of all time, unfortunately, but it does have all 20 episodes and 3 DVDs. 2 of them are, you gotta flip the disc, side A, side B, with all 20 episodes. Now, I know it started off as a TV movie, actually 2 TV movies, and I believe there was a story called the Kolchak Papers, I believe. The guy's name was Jeff Rice. And they thought, oh, well, let's make this to a TV movie, and that's where you had the TV movie The Night Stalker, where there was people getting killed in Vegas, in which you find out it's a vampire. And then you have this reporter with us as the father in The Christmas Story, among a few other films. I know he would later go on to do in a few episodes of The X-Files, because Chris Carter said that a big inspiration for him for The X-Files. And in fact, I think at one time he actually offered Darren McGavin to replay the role of Kolchak in The X-Files, which I would love to have seen. And I don't know why, for some reason, he said no to that. But then later on, he decided to play a different character. But that would have been awesome to see Kolchak in the X-Files. Kolchak, to see what he's been up to. That would have been awesome. I don't really... And the thing is, other than maybe an interview he did back when the show came out, you can't really find much interviews with Darren McGavin at all, let alone talking about Kolchak. Now, I know Darren McGavin, The Night Stalker and The Night Strangler. And The Night Strangler was, I think, took place in Seattle, and it's about a person who was, of course, strangled women, and something about using their blood to either keep being immortal or... I haven't seen the TV movies in a long time that started it all, because I don't own them. Kind of a weird story was years ago I was working at Target in Texas, and so because I worked at Target, I knew when they came in. Movies would come in, what movies came in. And I had caught up with this show. The first time I ever saw this was reruns on the Sci-Fi Channel, which once in a while you do see reruns on the Sci-Fi Channel, as well as on that channel Scream. No, not Scream, Chiller. Or is it Scream? I think there was a channel called Scream. And which I don't have the channel, but it doesn't matter because I have the... Yeah, it wasn't Chiller, it was Scream. Which I guess I paused because I'm like, I don't recognize that channel. I guess I didn't... I don't know. Oh, I guess it's a Canadian channel, which I did not realize. Huh. But either way, I watched a lot of the episodes first on the Sci-Fi Channel, and then being a fan of it, I'm like, I like to see what started on. And then they had this the 2-pack, and it was on. Decided, gotta buy this, bought it, and I went home to watch it. And weirdly enough, when I popped the DVD in, I went, what? And it was the disc. It says right there on the disc, John Carpenter's The Fog. So I went back up there, and because they knew who I was, they believed me and said, oh, okay, we'll take this, and, you can get another copy. So I got another copy. But I wanted to be sure this time, so I made them open it there. Copy of John Carpenter's The Fog in them. So I got my money back, and I never was able to get them. Then I've been wanting to get them, and for the two movies, brand new, $115. Used, $45. Used. $45 used. For some reason. And that's the cheapest. Used for $45. Now people say, well, what about eBay? What about eBay? Well, what about eBay? On eBay, I know there's some drumming sounds. I don't know why. I'm trying to sing now. Every time I click on something, it's like, boom. $120. Like new is $60. Very good is $47. And good is $48. Which was weird because the TV series on there is $33. But yeah, if you want to get the two movies, so I talked to someone and I paid $10 This is why people gotta buy, DVDRs, because they can't afford to pay $120 and $45 for two movies. And plus, this guy, I don't know if he's gonna fuck me over, because on I answer back, I sent him another question, because the guy's being an asshole. So I'm gonna get asshole. I'm gonna fucking get my money back. Believe me, it will happen. I can be very persuasive. But so I don't have the TV movies, so I couldn't watch them. But getting to the show itself, I mean, Night Stalker, the first TV movie, which was adapted for the stream by Richard Matheson. Helped with the film Duel, writing for Duel. And it was a big hit. I think it was like one of the biggest hits, on TV, biggest ratings on TV, like one of the biggest TV movies when it came out. So they made a sequel, The Night Strangler, and then that was a big hit. So I was thinking of a third film, something about maybe since they did a vampire and they did sort of a strangler, sort of immortal. How about like an android or something like, it's a monster, some type of monster. They thought, well, why don't we do a TV series? And Dan McGavin wasn't sure because I think he had done a TV series and wasn't sure to do it again, but he did it. And apparently there were problems like to the point where the schedule was very hectic. Like he said that there were times he had to work from 4 p.m. to 5 a.m. No, actually, sorry, from 5 p.m. I forget how the hell he worded it. And like hectic schedule, and it was just he wanted to make the show the best that they can, and there were people giving him the shaft and giving him the pain in the ass. It was shot from 4 in the afternoon until 5 in the morning. So I think, I mean, from 4 to 12 is 8 hours. And then another 5 hours there, 12, 13-hour days. And he was the main star, so, he was going to be there in almost every scene. Plus, apparently, like, the ratings really took it right in the ass. Apparently, they were, like, last in the ratings, and, back then, no one knew what ABC was. Like, ABC wasn't this big, popular channel. And it's like, oh, can we get more advertising? But they didn't. So, it got pretty much last in the ratings. That's why it only lasted one season. Plus, I think he was probably a little bit tired by the structure. Like, maybe we can do more with it, because I know that's one of the critiques on the series is that, which is actually one of the things I love about the series, and into the series itself. So you have 20 episodes. What I love about this series, not only because the idea, okay, Carl Kolchak, as by Darren McGavin. Excellent, excellent performance. I mean, he's a big reason why you love this series. You really fall in love with this character who defies authority. He's, he's not a Superman. He's just a regular guy just doing his job, but he's a good guy. So if someone needs help, he's going to help them. But sometimes he'll go undercover to get his story. Has fights with his boss as well, which is a lot of fun. And defying authorities, the cops, the senator, there's one episode with the senator, the officials, the government. He's kind of like the little man fighting back, wanting to do the right thing, but also wanting the story, wanting the truth to get out there. I mean, even the outfit alone with the white sort of seersucker outfit and sort of the straw type of hat, very iconic to me. In my opinion, it's an iconic look. But also always wanted to do the right thing. At the end of the day, he always wanted to do the right thing. But also self-effacing as well. Never present himself as anyone with an ego or anyone with a lot of the characters will pick on, make fun of the way he looked, or would call him a pinhead or anything like that. Oh, you're crazy, Kolchak, with your story. And also, these 20 episodes, some of them, every single episode of this series. I love every single episode. Because every single episode is a monster of the week. It's a standalone episode. Every end that, other than the fact it's the same characters, nothing intricate mythology, and that's why X-Files, I'm more of a fan of the Monster of the Week episodes than the mythology, the conspiracy, because it gets so convoluted that the last episode where they have to explain the whole fucking mythology to you, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened. I'm like, I want to see him on another case, not in a trial. And a lot of, loss and all these usually has to do with these arts, but I'm a fan of episodes. I know my friend, although I remember he talked to me, it seemed like a lot of them still had a little bit of mythology with certain groups or something like that. But this one, straight away, it was, each episode had a beginning, middle, and end. And it was very rarely, if ever, there are any like cliffhangers or anything like that. Other than Kolchak, Kolchak is a badass. He fucks these creatures up. He's not a Superman, he's not a martial arts or anything, but he's just a regular guy. But he's an investigative reporter, so he's able to find out what this thing is, what it takes to kill it, all, in one way or another. Which, again, is nice. Now, of course, the series takes place in Chicago, and it is kind of weird. So I understand, like, you know how Buffy the Vampire Slayer, they have the explanation of there's the Hellmouth. That's why all this stuff was created. I think if they made it happen for a good long while, that's why there's been all this crazy stuff happening. Or if it's one of those type of reporters that's like a freewheeling reporter, like I'm sure there has to be some reporters who go across the country to where the story is. Maybe not, but maybe there's some type of reporter who does that. But anyway, from 1974-75, for one season, the show went. And into the episodes, you have the first episode, Horror in the Heights. No, sorry. I'm looking at the wrong one. Duh. The first episode, the first TV movie, because that was about a vampire in Vegas, and the vampire was about a victim that outside of Vegas is resurrected, and she's a vampire, so she was a victim of the villain in the first movie, and then she's doing stuff. But the first one on this is The Ripper, which is actually about Jack the Ripper. There's a bunch of a serial killer is terrorizing women, and he continually avoids capture. And Kolchak comes to believe that the murderer is none other than the original Jack the Ripper. And Again, what I like about this series is that it has a beginning, middle, and end, and you have the rapid fire dialogue. Sometimes it's very fun. Like there's a point where Jack takes a kills a girl at a, and it's low budget and it's 70s, so you're not, the killers are usually a lot of times, hidden, and if it's makeup, it's a little bit of the cheaper makeup. So it's not like a scary show that you would be freaked out today, but I was still very much entertained by it. And it's not like you don't see blood and guts on a 70s TV show, so just, to let you know. But Jack the Ripper, he attacks a massage parlor. And, of course, one of those massage parlors under the table, you don't have some nookie. So Kolchak goes there to get some questions. And, of course, the woman there, she's asking him. He's like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And she identifies herself as a police officer. And he goes, no, 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 I would never do anything like this. And the cop takes him and is like, oh, so you like to watch girls? And he's like, no, I don't like to watch girls. Oh, really? No, not that either. uh, And I'm going to go very briefly on the episodes because, A, I don't want this to be a 2-hour thing. And 2, I want people to check this series out. And that's for, the dialogue. If I mention pieces of dialogue, like in one he says, F. Scott Fitzgerald once wrote, the rich are different than you and me. They sure are. They got more money. We all have rats, sir. You should see the one I work for. Son, I've seen more dead bodies than you've had TV dinners. Or, let's see, I wanted to get, a lot of these are good ones, but I really want to get some great ones. Oh, come on, what is that don't you like about my hat? I don't like what's under it. Once I thought about entering priesthood, then the Inquisition ended and all the fun went out of it for you. Like he's told about this episode where a dead panda, where someone says, no, it's not really a bear, it's a raccoon. He's like, they die of heart attack. Oh, a raccoon with a heart attack. Maybe fed too much cholesterol. Or the monk was a bit of a different order. He hadn't taken the vow of silence, or the vow of poverty. Because a lot of times he pays for informants. And, if I say the dialogue, this guy says it a lot better. And a lot of times, like, in the beginning, he'll say, like, the first victim, Kolchak will give a sort of a little voiceover. Because a lot of times, like, sometimes you see Kolchak taping what he's experienced and sort of like him retelling what happened. So he'll give a sort of little bit of info, like a journalist, like an investigator would give about what happened to this person, so on and so forth. And, when people, authorities like, oh, when we talk about Pinhead and, I'm doing a bad job with this, so I'm going to stop. I'm not doing it justice at all. Safe to say, there is some very funny bits of dialogue in here. But he finds out that Jack the Ripper doesn't like electricity, and he goes into it, and you have, like, this girl he talks to, who she considers herself a little plump little girl, and he, like, has put down and writing these Dear Emily letters for people out there. He doesn't like it. And, this girl who, she didn't seem plump to me, but she considers herself plump. She's talking with people who assume that they're Jack the Ripper, meeting him. Kolchak is, you gotta stop doing this, you're being a dummy, and, he talks like, tells it like it is, so to speak. But by the end, he fries Jack's ass. And that's what I like about it. He's a guy who is willing to get the job done. I mean, in the second episode, the zombie, after his son's murder, a voodoo priestess brings him back from the grave so that he may seek revenge against his killers. And actually, the zombie is played by Yaphet Kotto. in an early role. And you have a little bit there where, you know, there's this guy's niece. I guess he's a head guy, and Kolchak is supposed to show her the rounds, so he doesn't want to, but takes her with her. But there's a shooting, and she's a dumbass, almost gets herself shot. He goes, "Oh, I got an idea." Opens up the trunk. Okay, when he comes around, you take a picture, okay? He's like, "Oh, really? Yeah." And then he slams the trunk down, so locking her in there. And it's hard to explain some of these without doing it justice. But basically, he finds out again, Yaphet was his character was killed, and his voodoo priestess marks it, so he basically lets the guys embrace their spines. But our called Kolchak is, because he asks too much questions, he is going to become a victim. And just the point where he finds out, but you have to put salt and sew it up, and also he ends in a junkyard and he's able to hang Yaphet, put these candles around him to stop the zombie. Number 3, you have they have been, they are, they will be. Kolchak battles unearthly enemies when deadly aliens who feed on human bone marrow invade Chicago. Basically, into the wall, and Kolchak and the cops are there. Cops get thrown around left and right, and they see all this like 2 tons of lead, and they just disappear. And something about you find out how he investigates, so he investigates this guy. His lawn was messed up. There's all this weird gunk. It's actually played by Dick Van Patten, which, you know, people would know. If you don't know, look him up. He's you know, the king in Spaceballs. And one thing Lisa Knight finds out is sort of this invisible alien that deals with the electromagnetic field, and a certain sound will either hurt it or steer it away. That's why some of this part of this gunk is. But he makes the alien get the fuck out of Dodge. I love the ending because he's able to stop this vampire bitch with a fucking cross. It will lead her out where there's this big giant cross, lights that and the whole field on fire. So she gets freaked out by this flaming big cross and is able to stake her ass. Number 5, you got the werewolf, which I guess there's another guy on here who I want to give credit to get the name exactly right, so I don't mess it up. But he's a very nice guy. You know, again, very nice guy who I've chatted with before. And yeah, I want to get the guy's name right, but I cannot. What the hell? I had it here. Horror of Mike. That's what it's. Horror of Mike. Does a really good job in his reviews and his videos. Horror of Mike. Definitely a nice guy. I want to give him a plug on there. He mentioned, like, he enjoyed this episode too, but apparently there's a lot of people who don't like it because Kolchak has to be on this ocean liner, and there's this guy on there who at times becomes a werewolf, and he's throwing people left and right, fucking them up. He's throwing people off the damn, you know, high heights, and he's fucking shit up, and Kolchak has to steal these medals from this admiral or whoever who's on there, and melt it down and has a fucking double-barrel shotgun to shoot at the creature and fucks up the creature. And then ultimately he gets thrown by his hand and he throws the werewolf off the damn boat. But he put, you know, 2 damn silver plugs in him, so he's not going to live long. But the werewolf I always enjoyed. I always had a lot of fun with it. Then you have Fire's killer spirit whenever he sleeps. Kolchak, fighting his own urge to slumber, must exhume the arsonist's body to reunite it with its spirit. So basically, yeah, you have this guy who used to be an arsonist who dies actually at an art some way. I guess because the guy was sort of passed by the arsonist's funeral. That's kind of murky. Well, at least he possesses this music conductor. He'll make people, they'll be laying in bed, and when they sleep, they'll burn up, and just this big fucking black, you know, body remains just completely burnt up, and ash and bones and skeleton and all that stuff. And so Kolchak has to fight, you know, sleep, so that he doesn't, fall asleep and die. And then he also has to try to get the conductor to fall asleep, so that the whole deal is he's got to get the arsonist's body back to where the person died, and somehow it's a little bit murky on that. The Devil's Platform. This is actually one with Tom Skerritt. He plays a senator who sold his soul for power. In the beginning, this guy is saying he's going to talk about his campaign, how he's lied and bribed, and he's like, you shouldn't do that. So he takes with him on an elevator with other people, makes the elevator go down and crash. And when Kolchak and them open it, there's a dog. So Tom Skerritt has the ability to turn into a dog in this position of power, and how these people in the past have died. And I'm going brief on these, but yeah, I want people to check this series out. I mean, like I said, on eBay, worth a buy. I mean, it really is. Very hard pressed to find any episodes because Universal. And again, it's a shame this did not get any features. Dollars used. It's you can get it for $20 or so. I think it's on Netflix. Someone said it was streaming on Netflix. At least it was at one time. I don't know if it is anymore. There's also like Amazon Instant Watch, so you can pay like $1 per episode or something like that. But again, really enjoyable series. Number 8, you have Bad Medicine. It's a gem of a case when Kolchak battles a cursed Native American medicine man who is condemned to walk the earth for eternity, constantly collecting a hoard of jewels. And basically, yeah, it's about a Native American spirit he was cursed, and he can turn into a coyote and a crow. I think something else, but I know those two. And actually, the medicine man is Richard Kiel. And this is before he played Jaws in the James Bond flips. But it was Richard Kiel who plays the medicine man. He can put people into a trance. Although it is weird where when the medicine man, you hear him like, he's chanting. He's like, wee 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 wee. I can't say it with a straight face, but that is kind of weird. But the number 9 episode, The Spanish Moss Murders, basically about a guy who is put into a perpetual sleep for an experiment, and is this doctor studying dreams, and it's like a new frontier, and like this he's asleep, but he's not allowed to dream, and somehow this creates this makes this person under it concoct, this boogeyman this guy knew as a kid, from when he was growing up in the bayou. And that's why there's deaths, and you see the Spanish moss. One thing I liked where you have this cop on there, Keenan Wynn. He was the villain in the Absent Mind Professor. You see him and stuff. But I don't know, I just really like this cop guy. At first he's trying to be, he was nicknamed Mad Dog, but he's trying to go this I'm okay, you're okay sort of business. But with Kolchak, of course, he gets pissed off and starts yelling at him. I also like there's this little guy, this informant who pretends he's like this French Cajun guy, but then realizes, no, I'm just, I'm sort of a Brooklyn guy. And, Coach says, what made you come here? He's like, well, at first I wanted to get an organized crime, but I fucked that up. What was it? But I'm not it's not even much. But I didn't reach the height requirement. He says it a lot better. I know I'm stuttering over it. Fuck it. But, originally I wanted to do an organized crime, but couldn't reach the height requirement. And well, these guys do it better. I mean, this is when you have capable actors, even the side players, spit out really solid dialogue. And once again, Kolchak, the reason you enjoy the series is being with Kolchak, investigating this stuff, and every episode is different. It's a vampire, then it's a zombie, then it's an alien, then it's a guy who made a deal with the devil, then it's some boogeyman from the bayou. Here it's next is like this. I'll get to that, but basically this monster covered in the Spanish moss that will grab people and crush the life out of them. And that he's got a sticker with a sticker of this Bayou gum from where it came from. And I like this bit of business where, this guy, he's trying to do a recording deal. And so I'm trying to do a recording deal. This guy wants me telling fairy tales, bedtime stories. And the guy's kind of being an ass, and so are the people in the booth. I love Coach has kind of smart ass. So okay, and a 1, 2, 3. Like the way he does it is a lot better than I'm selling it. Is what I'm getting at. But number 10, you have the Energy Eater, where this new hospital has been opened, but people are getting electrocuted. It discovers basically is a burial spot of this Native American spirit that's awakened by the hospital construction. And basically it's a poltergeist story. And I like, the hospital, at the base of the hospital, the walls are getting split open, wall cracking on the floor. And like, you have poor, just regular patients stuck there. And, they're just all of a sudden being electrocuted by it. Number 11, you have Horror in the Heights, where there's this Hindu demon which will take the form of what you trust. So like, there's a moment where there's very nice, even the little people have nice little parts. They seem natural and friendly. This old man and woman, they're, one's not really sure to take this shortcut because of a death they heard, but they're like, okay, we'll take it. And they're afraid, but then they see who they think is a policeman, but it's a monster. And again, they will come at you, like pick a picture from your mind of someone you trust, and they'll come at you and then kill you. Which I thought, that's an interesting idea. And the only way to do it is to kill with this special arrow that was blessed. Number 12 is Mr. Ring, where he's trying to write this obituary of this deceased scientist. Coach wants to know how he died, and there's this project called Ring, and actually is a robot. It's a robot that has his face full of circuits, but it escapes, and it's like wants to be human, so it steals like a mask, and then it steals like makeup from from an undertaker, or as he calls himself, a cosmetologist, and puts like this putty on there to make it seem more human. Just trying to get to this one girl who I guess it kind of thinks is his mom because he wants to live and he doesn't understand what it's doing. So I have a little bit of that kind of aspect to it, especially at the end. I have a little bit of tragedy where he gets shot and killed. Or at least shot and taken. And so I liked, okay, that one they try to be a little bit different, where there's a little bit more sympathy for the character, the quote monster. Primal Scream. Yeah, cell samples came back from Antarctic. One leads to another, and then there's this sort of half man, half ape going around, throwing people up left and right and center. Leading to Kolchak being in the sewers, trying to reason it with, like, literally the place with road flares and trying to reason with the thing. Number 14, you got the Trevi Collection, where you have murders at this, in the fashion industry. And you have scenes where, like, the mannequins appear that they're alive, and Kojak realizes he's dealing with a witch. And the things you have to do to a witch is accuse her in front of a public audience. 15 is Chopper, which is actually one of, if not the first thing, written by Robert Zemeckis. I think Bob Gale had a hand writing it too. And basically it's about, around the 50s or so, there's a motorcycle game, and one of them, because they played a practical joke and it went wrong, and the guy got decapitated. And it's years later, and it's basically, it's like the Headless Horseman, but instead he's driving a motorcycle, but he's carrying a big fucking sword. And it's one of the, like, again, for TV in the 70s, he's going at someone, and then, like, the picture will freeze frame, like, right before they get cut, but you hear the sound effects. And it's understandable. I mean, it's on TV in 1974. It's, you should know what you're getting for. But it still works for me. I do think it's funny how Kojak styles him, because basically you have the head and body were separated, and he has to get the head with the body. So he grabs the head inside this sort of motorcycle, this little helmet thing. I think it's a helmet thing. and the thing's coming at him on a motorcycle. I like that he just takes it, just throws it, it bounces off, and the guy bounces off the thing. And the next thing he sees it, for some reason, there's a skeleton that the skull's magically put on the head. So you have your weird things, I admit. But anyway, it's just charming to me. Number 16, you have one called Demon and Lace, which I would say this is probably one of my I remember. Yeah, I would say this is one of my, probably my least, if I had to call it, like, I enjoy every one of these episodes, I really do. But if there's a good and bad, I mean, this is probably my least favorite one, Demon and Lace. When young men are dying of heart attacks on a college campus, Kojak sharpens his pencil and learns about an ancient tablet from the Middle East that is linked to a bloodthirsty creature taking the form of a beautiful woman. Basically, it's about a succubus, someone who will, drain the life out of you. And, it's about this tablet. And it's one of those things like, okay, people are dying, but, like, this woman apparently dies, but then she disappears, and then this woman dies, she apparently disappears, and then it's like, okay, is this thing becoming each woman? Or, like, does he kill them, then takes their place? I mean, the whole thing's kind of a little murky to me. Basically, he's a tablet thing, but he just fucks up the tablet. I still enjoy the episode, but if I had to pick a least favorite, it'd probably be that one. But then you have the last, and there's nothing Simon, just very sort of, not too much though. But number 17, The Legacy of Terror, with actually you have Eric Estrada in it. And it's basically about people getting murdered, getting their hearts ripped out. And it seems like there's a pattern where every 50 years there's 5 murders, and something to do with this Aztec cult. And they're sacrificing these victims to appease this god. It's weird. I could have sworn I heard the name Quetzalcoatl, which is actually from Q the Winged Serpent. Only it said that Quetzalcoatl here was the good guy. So I thought that was kind of interesting, because I like Q the Winged Serpent. I remember Quetzalcoatl. I remember that word. But here they actually mention that name in a good manner. And that he was the good guy while the one they're, Kojak is fighting is, the bad one. I forget the name of it, though. But apparently the 5th victim has to go willingly, and that's actually Eric Estrada. But I like the bit where your coach says, you don't have to finish this. And when he's ready, to do, he's like, forget this, and Eric Estrada's like running away. I don't know, the way he did, I laughed at it. Well, I mean, I like that one. The Nightly Murders. Basically, it's about a black knight that is killing people. One kills one with a big old fucking arrow. Like crossbow, I should say. One does it with a lance right through the car. One does it with a mace. Kojak tries to stop it, gets pushed back, knocked out. And you don't see it, but, you definitely see it with the mace going after the woman. Obviously, you don't see any gore or anything. It always reminds me of the Scooby-Doo episode where you had a black knight. But that's definitely one I enjoyed. Number 19, the Youth Killer. Basically, you have this dating service, and this woman specifically has this dating service for specific people who apparently are perfect, because she wants to find out that the person is perfect, offer them as a sacrifice, because he tastes their soul, and then apparently she may be the Helen of Troy, and takes basically takes their youth away from them. Not their soul, but takes their youth away from them. So, they're doing normal things, and then all of a sudden they're aging more and more and die of a heart attack, heart failure. And Kojak kicks her ass by saying, well, because he had this ring, and he had to hide it, but apparently this ring is part of the club, so she tries sacrificing. Well, wait a minute, I'm not perfect. And I love how she goes, I doubt you know what the gods want. But then the gods start fucking up. So it's like, fuck you, bitch. And Kojak found something else. Yeah, there's another sacrifice you made. He wasn't perfect. See, he had a glass eye, and he wasn't perfect. She gets frozen to a statue, like the Helen of Troy statue. And the last one, the Sentry. I actually really like this one. Most consider this the worst one as well. But basically, this underground facility, you actually have Tom Bosley in a small role. But the usually in these episodes, there's always one or two like officials that they bring in to purposely fight with Kolchak. And a lot of times they change per episode. It's very rare that the same cop comes back. And there's always a little bit something to them, like whether it's one who very pontificates. I bet you Kolchak pretty much says he's full of shit. Um, you don't know how to investigate. You just rely on informants and tips. You don't know what you're doing. This one is a lady who everybody thinks she's so nice, but Kolchak sees through her bullshit. It's basically about an underground facility that it's an alligator creature, and you find out that it's because someone took this geode, but there's actually eggs. And that's why the thing is attacking people, is to try to look for its eggs. But the alligator creature is so pathetic. It really is pathetic. I mean, I think the creatures on all the other episodes are fine. They did what they had to do for a TV budget. But this alligator creature was beyond pathetic. It really was. There's a moment where a guy tries to hit on the head with a hammer. I swear you heard a pow! I swear you heard it just bounce off because it's, rubber. But the creature is pathetic. But it's a rubber suit, and it has that B-movie charm to it. So this one, sometimes I can excuse that, and this one I can. It made it a little bit charming, but it is a pathetic-looking alligator monster. But I still enjoy the episode because I enjoy Carl Kolchak. Darren McGann's performance is wonderful, beyond wonderful, awesome performance. I want to get the guy who plays his editor-in-chief, because they have a lot of fun back and forth that I would try to recreate, but I would not do it justice. The character's name is Tony Vincenzo. The actor's name is Simon Oakland. He did an excellent job as well. He was in every episode as, again, the editor-in-chief to Kolchak. They have a great rapport between each other, fun back and forth between each other, but, he barely understands what Kolchak is talking about half the time, yells at him the other half of the time, but they still have a fun relationship. So that's Simon Oakland, who I don't think he's no longer with us either, which is a shame. But this series is just so much fun with Carl Kolchak, a guy who, he's the underdog, and he wants to get his story, so he goes undercover when he can, fights with the authorities, had a lot of fun back and forth between the authorities or even between his editor-in-chief. But at the end of the day, he wants to do the right thing, and 9 times over 10, he kicks the bad guy's ass. Front, line, and center. I mean, this guy is a badass. I mean, think about it. This guy fucked up vampires, stopped a zombie, made an alien run home to his mommy, fucked up a werewolf, stopped a senator. That's hard, stopping a senator. Richard Keogh told him to go home in his medicine man outfit. I think he actually also played the Bayou monster as well. Fucked him up. Even though the stab with the Bayou gum is kind of pathetic, because it's almost like a poke. I think they could have had a better, real stab, but it was what it was. But he still fucked up the Spanish moss monster. Stopped this thing, the energy or the spirit, because you realize that it doesn't like temperature, cold. Fucked him up with a fire extinguisher. Threw the head at the damn Chopper's body. Told her that she was a witch in front of people and made her go insane. Fucked up a knight with an axe. Took an axe right, boom, right into the knight. Even though when he took the axe, it kind of just bounces off the thing. But I guess, just striking with the axe is the effect he had. I mean, why not? I mean, they're curses. Like, I know how a curse works. He got the age for the creature and to make you follow him, and that way you start to take it and go away. He's badass. He's badass. Now, I know there was a TV show, another TV show with Stuart Townsend, um, produced by this Frank Spotness. I know he worked on the X-Files, the Night Stalker, and they even have, in the first episode, they digitally put Darren McGavin's as Kolchak into a scene in like the first episode. Which I'm thinking, why the fuck would you do that? Are you trying to say that this guy's Kolchak and this guy's Kolchak, that this takes place in 1973, 74? Is that what you're trying to say? Or that Kolchak didn't age? Like, I don't understand what the fuck they... You can look it up, but I don't know what the hell they did that for like one scene. But other things I really... That show, I think it only lasted like 3 episodes or so. Like, I didn't bother to see it because I don't care about Stuart Townsend. People are like, who the fuck's Stuart Townsend? Well, he's the lead in this film that I bought recently called Shade. I bought that more for Sylvester Stallone, not for Stuart Townsend. What else did he star in? Oh, I think he was he Tom Sawyer in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen? No, I'm sorry. He was Dorian Gray in A League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Wrong guy. But what else has he done? He's been in little films like Resurrection Man, Wonderland. I think his biggest role was the lead in Queen of the Damned. He was Lestat in Queen of the Damned. So that's where Stuart Townsend's from. He starred in Queen of the Damned. But again, I wasn't really a fan of Queen of the Damned, at least the last time I saw it. So I didn't care about the show. It just seemed like your typical, there's only one Kolchak. I'm sorry. It just seemed like just trying to be another fucking CSI, or try to be like, just made you think more on X-Files and stuff. And the Kolchak in that one, Stuart Townsend, was just a bore to watch. I just didn't like it at all. Of course, he had a female in there, love interest. That's another thing. No love interest, no forced love stories in there. I liked it was about a guy and his mission, his story. And each one is a standalone. It has his own beginning, his own middle, and his own end. Which I think that was another thing. Maybe Darren McGavin wanted more of an arc, which I know is I'm sure back in the day, that's why people, it doesn't have any arc. Well, I don't care. They're entertaining. Everything has an arc and has a story that goes through the whole one season, 2, 3 seasons, which then gets so convoluted that by the end, if they're on too long, they become convoluted and kind of hurt the show, in my opinion. But either way, I don't know what else to say about it, but Darren McGavin is definitely missed, as is Simon Oakland and everybody else involved with the show. I'm a big fan of the show, humongous fan. I definitely think it's worth your time and effort to take a look at this show if you guys haven't seen it already. It's just an excellent... I love the show to death. I love the time it was made in the 70s, just made for, great atmosphere. Even little moments like, even in The Sentry, where he's looking down the dark hallway and there's a light at the end of the tunnel. That's better than some fucking horror films today. Just, the way it was filmed, it's that 70s look with classic monsters that, okay, some of them may be cheap rubber monsters, but even they have 100 times more charm than CGI. I'm sorry. It had a good sense of humor to it, especially with the character, especially with the lead. It had a good sense of humor to it, which really helps with these stories. You saw even more for Carl Kolchak. You really love your main character. I mean, if you have not seen this, I strongly urge any of my friends to pick up a copy and see this. It is worth your time. It is worth your effort. I love the series to death. I hope you stay with me throughout all this. But thanks for watching. Take care. And we will see you later.